guys, this is Shane here from Echo Soundworks, and in this video, I'm going to show you how you can create 808 slides inside of Logic 10. Now, this isn't just a Logic 10 tutorial. A lot of the concepts, techniques that we're going to be looking at in this video will be applicable to other DAW users, right? So if you're using Ableton, FL Studio, the same techniques will apply. So first things first, what is an 808 slide? As you can hear, an 808 slide is where you slide up in pitch and back down to the pitch that you started at, right? So after 3 or 4 hits of that one note, it might be getting a little bit boring. So you can use 808 slides to spice up your 808 bass lines, right? Especially if you're not hitting many notes in the 808 bass line itself. So you can see that if we're hitting like a D1, after about 3 or 4 notes, maybe in the turnaround of the first bar or second bar, we could slide up to a higher octave. Now, a lot of times you will do just that. You will slide up to a higher octave, but you don't have to. You can also slide to notes within the scale, within your bass line, and just within the key, and that sometimes gets some really cool results. All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you how you can make an 808, how to pull off 808 slides using 3 different samplers or 3 different plugins, really. We're going to be looking at how you can achieve this using Alchemy, which is stock to Logic, then EXS24, which is also a stock Logic tool, and I'm also going to look at how you can do the same thing in Kontakt for the non-Logic users out there. All right, guys, so the first thing we're going to do is kind of just go over a quick roadmap, how you can achieve 808 slides regardless of the tool that you're using, whether that's Kontakt, EXS24, Alchemy, Simpler, and Ableton, right? The process is pretty similar for pretty much any sampler or synth/sampler. So I've pulled up our 808 library. It's called Sub-Zero 808. And I'm going to kind of walk you through this process looking at this first, and then we're going to go check out Alchemy and EXS24 for the Logic users out there. So first thing you're going to do, load in an 808. So we have an 808. Second thing you're going to do, locate your voice setting section in the sampler or synth that you're using. You can look for words like mono, poly, legato. So here we have our voice settings. Right up here, we can see we have mono mode, on, and then legato, and then we have offset, right? So we'll be working in mono mode and legato. Now, if you're wondering, well, what's the difference between the two? Well, there is a pretty big difference, and when it comes to 808 slides, it's a huge difference. So let's set this to mono, and then let's go into the back end of Kontakt. And if we scroll down here, we can see our actual waveform. So as I play a note, look at you'll see a play position kind of scroll through a waveform, right? And you'll notice that every time I hit a note, it's going to restart that phase. Well, in mono mode, you can only play one note at a time. So if I hold down D1 and play D2 above it while I'm holding down D1, we're going to hear both notes. It's just going to always trigger, the newest note and then go back to the oldest note or the lowest note in this example. So pay attention to when I hit D1 and then D2 above it on this keyboard, and then take a glance up. As D2 plays, you'll notice that our play position jumps back to the beginning. It restarts or re-triggers the phase. Check this out. See how it jumps back? Now in a legato mode, it won't jump back. So if you're working with an 808 that has like a kick, a transient like this one does, right? You may not want your slide to have that kick, right? Because it may not follow your kick pattern. So if we go to up here to the top, we can go back to our interface, change this to legato, go back into the back end, and then check this out. Now when I hit that D2 above D1, you'll notice that wherever I'm at within the waveform, that's where it will trigger. So what I'm going to do to really exemplify this is I'm going to let the sample run into our loop point and then hit D2. So we're in the loop point. See how it's not re-triggering the phase, but it still is sliding up? Right, so there's 2 different, 2 very distinct sounds right there for achieving an 808 slide. All right, so once you have your mono mode set, whether it's legato or mono, then you need to set your glide time, right? So on Sub-Zero 808, we have a whole glide mode, and we're going to set it to on and give it a little bit of time. So I just want to check out the time, see how it sounds. That sounds good. So now that you have those 2 things set up, you can go and create your slides. So if we go into our MIDI region here, slides really simple to set up. All you have to do is basically put a MIDI note that's in key or an octave above a MIDI note that you're triggering already, and you'll see that it will slide up to it. So check this out. I can put a note here, and if we play this, play it from the very beginning of the region. So it's triggering this note right here, and then as this note comes in, it's sliding up to it. And then we're going to go up an octave here. All right, so now let's take a look how we can achieve a similar sounding 808 style slide inside of Alchemy. So Logic users, for the love of God, stop using the EXS24 for this sort of stuff. If you're trying to just manipulate a one-shot sample, use Alchemy over the EXS24 unless you're a masochist. So it's really simple. In a recent update inside of our recent update with Logic, we can now just drag samples onto a source or oscillator inside of Alchemy. So you'd go to File, Initialize Preset, find an 808, drag it on, and hover over until you can see where it says Sampler and pop it on Sampler. Once you do that, you can click here on where it says A, go to Edit, and now you have a really nice audio editor. So you can actually manipulate the sample, start point, end point, loop points, all that sort of stuff. So this is an example where I zoom, and you can zoom in on the audio quite far, so you can actually go down to a single, you can see single cycles of audio. So you can, make sure your loop points aren't going to click or pop. You can have them cross right at 0 crossings. So I went to the start here and I moved my start point off of, the part that had the transient or the kick, and it's really easy. You just drag this and move and you're off and running. So to turn on your loop points in Alchemy, you just go over here where it says loop mode, select continuous or sustain for 808s. That's probably going to be your go-to. One that you go to, turn on X fade, and then what you'll get is these two little these guys kind of together, and they can be hard to separate for some reason at first. So you kind of got to click at just the right spot, but then you can establish your loop point and insert your you can turn on a loop X fade or crossfade so it doesn't get any clicking. All right, so you can go back, you want to go to the global tab so you can see your master. So here's your voice section, right? Remember our, step by step. Load up an 808, we've done that. Find your voice section. So I've set this to legato. You can also set it to mono by having it set to retrigger and set your number of voices on all to 1. So this is mono. Right, so if we play this, it's going to re-trigger every time I play. So, but I want this set to legato, so we're going to change this to legato and add a little bit of glide time, and now we have our 808 essentially. And once you're on my other oscillator, it's a little bit of a noise os, and we can hear this. We can hear and see the slides taking shape. All right, so for those of you who want to see how this is done in the EXS24, for some reason I will show you. So you're going to go to open the EXS24, open up Edit, and then drag in your sample here, and now we have our sample. So I'm going to pitch this though because we don't have, there's, if we go back here, I'll hit this. I'm going to have to save it because that's how the EXS24 is. I hate you, EXS24, so much. No, so very much. And we're going to tune this. So this is an F sharp. So to get it to a C, I'm just going to pitch it. I can pitch it up or down. All right, so there's our 808. All right, guys, that's going to sum up this video. If you have any questions or comments, post those, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. It really means a lot. And hit that notification bell when you do so you get an update when we release a new video. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.